Okay guys, so in this video I want to tell you how I went from doing 3 pull-ups in a row to 15 plus pull-ups in a row. Now I remember last year when I first started doing calisthenics, so when I first started implementing calisthenics into my bodybuilding routine, I was only able to do 3 pull-ups. I remember this specific time, I think I was pure gym, and I went over to the pull-up bar. Bear in mind at the time I never used to do calisthenics, I never used to do pull-ups or dips or anything like that. And I remember walking to the pull-up bar, and actually I was very shocked when I found out I was only able to do 3 pull-ups. Like, bear in mind, last year I was um, I was basically training like a bodybuilder. So I was doing all my push pull legs. I was doing a bro split sometimes. Like, I was actually training like to just become as big as I could. And I actually got a little bit upset when I walked over to the pull-up bar and I realized that I was only able to do 3 fucking pull-ups. Now, it's been over a year now since that moment, and now I only train calisthenics now. Yes, I do here and there with my friends. Maybe I'll do some bodybuilding exercises just to improve on my strength, whatever, but and just to have some fun. But my main focus right now is calisthenics, just purely calisthenics, purely working on my dips, on my pull-ups, on my skills. And right now I can do 15 plus pull-ups. I think I can do 20 now, because I remember a couple of months ago I could do 15 pull-ups in a row. I can probably do a lot more than that right now. But just for the sake of this video, let's just use the number 15. But anyway, in this video, I want to tell you how I went from doing 3 pull-ups in a row to 15 plus pull-ups, and the exact routines which actually allowed me to do so. So before I tell you the exact routine which allowed me to go from 3 pull-ups in a row to 15 plus pull-ups, I want to say a few things. The first one is that you need to revise your form. Now, when I first started doing calisthenics back like a year and a half ago or something, my form was the bodybuilder form. So, you know, I'm gonna put like a B-roll now on this video so that you guys can see the form that I was using. And as you can see, I was swinging all the time. Most importantly, my legs were literally crossed behind my back, which is not how you should perform a pull-up. And overall, as you can see, the form was terrible. Now, this is my form now. As you can see, is pretty much perfect. This is how you should perform a pull-up the calisthenics way, not the bodybuilding way. So the first thing that I want to say is that revise your form. If you want to increase the number of pull-ups, please make sure that you're doing pull-ups correctly, because trust me guys, I spent a year doing pull-ups the wrong fucking way. And only 5 months ago, when I started training with one of my very good friends who's a calisthenics guy like me, and he corrected my form, only then I started doing pull-ups the correct way. And I actually remember the first time that my friend taught me how to actually do pull-ups, not the bodybuilding way, the actual way that everyone should perform pull-ups. And it was very hard. It was very hard from going to the bodybuilding way to the calisthenics way of doing pull-ups, because if you don't revise your form straight away, it's very easy for you then to pick up on these bad habits and just continue on doing pull-ups the wrong way. And yes, doing pull-ups the correct way, so the way that calisthenics people do, it's a lot harder than the form that bodybuilders do, because in calisthenics you don't really swing when you do a pull-up, whereas in bodybuilding, because your legs are behind your back and you're not engaging your core as much, you're gonna swing a lot, which is gonna be easier for you to perform a pull-up. Therefore, when you go from the bodybuilding way to the normal way, you're gonna see a big difference, and it's probably gonna be harder for you to perform pull-ups. Okay, now, so how do you actually increase your number of pull-ups from like a very low number, say you can do like 4 pull-ups in a row, to actually going from like a significant amount, so 10, 15, 20? Well, the first thing that I want to say is that in order to increase the number of pull-ups, this is going to sound pretty obvious, you actually need to train pull-ups. Now, the reason why back then I was only able to do 3 pull-ups, despite being quite strong, is because I wasn't training pull-ups. I was doing other back exercises, for example, low row. I was doing the lat pull down, which are useful if you want to grow your back, if you actually want to become stronger. But if you actually want to get better at pull-ups and increase the number of pull-ups, you need to train pull-ups frequently, like 3 times a week. Maybe if you're just starting, 2 times a week is enough. I train pull-ups 4 times a week now. So, and this is just to show that if you actually want to get better at pull-ups, you need to do them. You pretty much just need to flipping train pull-ups and do them frequently. Pull-ups is not, for example, like training chest where you do it like once, max twice a week. With pull-ups, you can literally do them 4 times a week and it will be fine. So don't overthink this too much. Okay, enough talking now. Let's actually get into the actual routines, which I did myself in order to go from 3 pull-ups to 15. Routine number 1, what you're going to do is, first of all, you're going to test your max number of pull-ups. Let's say that right now you can do 4 pull-ups in a row. What you're going to do is you're going to divide your max number of pull-ups. So in this example is 4. You're going to divide it by 2, which is your 50% rep max. And what you're going to do is you're going to do 10 sets of 2 repetitions. So you're going to do 10 sets of your 50% rep max. You're going to rest 1 minute in between each one of those sets. So in between those 10 sets, you're going to rest 1 minute. Now you might be thinking, oh, but these are so many sets, like you're crazy. I know there are these are a lot of sets, but in calisthenics, unlike bodybuilding, in bodybuilding, guys, you can probably get away with doing max 4 sets, which is probably a little bit too much. In calisthenics, if you do 4 sets, that's not enough, especially at the beginning. I don't care what anyone says. In calisthenics, you need to do a lot of sets, a lot of repetition in order to master pull-ups, in order to master whatever exercise you're doing. This is why it's gonna take you quite a while to do this routine. So routine number 1, but this is just how it is. In calisthenics, you need to do a lot of sets. Now I remember when I first started doing this routine, it was actually a little bit boring at first, then I got used to it. But I'm sorry guys, if you want to actually get better or something, if you actually want to increase the number of pull-ups, I'm telling you, this routine helped me so much, and I'm sure it's going to help you guys as well, because I'm no different to you. So just to recap, the first routine is you're going to calculate your max number of pull-ups, you're going to divide it by 2, and then you're going to do 10 sets of this. Now, how do you progressive overload in this routine? Once you can complete those 10 sets with your 50% rep max, next time you're going to increase your sets by 1 repetition. Say that week 1 you can complete those 10 sets of 2 reps. Next time your goal is going to be to complete those 10 sets, but this time you're going to add 1 rep, and so which means you're going to complete those 10 sets with 3 reps. And this is how you progressive overload. Now I remember that at one point I actually got stuck. I remember the specific number. I got stuck with 7 reps. Now I was doing, for example, 8 sets of 7 reps. Then on my last 2 sets I was doing maybe like 6, and then on the last set I was doing 5. The best piece of advice that I can give if you feel stuck on a certain number and you can't progressive overload is just keep going. Just keep going, because eventually you will get better. Eventually your reps are gonna increase, and you can move on to the next number. For example, right now, let's say that you're doing 10 sets of like, I don't know, 3 reps, but on the last 2 sets you can only do 2. Just keep going. Eventually you will be able to complete those 10 sets with 3 reps, and then progressive overload and increase 1 rep on next time you do this exercise. Now routine number 2 is similar to the first routine that I said, but what you're going to do is you're going to calculate the 70% of your rep max, and you're going to do 5 sets. In order to progressive overload, what you're going to do is you're not going to increase the reps straight away. You're going to decrease your resting time by 15 seconds, starting by resting for 2 minutes. So for example, let's say that on week 1 you're doing let's say 5 reps for 5 sets. You're going to rest, on week 1 you're going to rest 2 minutes. If you can complete those 5 sets by doing those 5 reps, what you're going to do is on week 2 you're going to decrease your resting time by 15 seconds, and so on and so on and so on, until you can complete those 5 sets by only resting 1 minute. Only then, when you can complete those 5 sets, only then you're going to increase the number of reps by 1, and you're going to bring your resting time back to 2 minutes, and then so on and so on and so on. So I hope this video was helpful, and I did these routines literally for a year straight. I was doing them every single week. At first I was able to do them, for example, 1 time a week, both of them, Then gradually, as the months went by, I was able to do these routines every other day, which is probably ideal. But if you're just starting out, I recommend you guys do these routines like once a week. So yeah, guys, I hope this video was helpful. I did these routines for like a year and a half, and that's how I was able to increase my number of pull-ups. Like, I remember at one point I actually cancel my gym membership and I went all in on calisthenics, and I literally I just did these routines. And you can do this for dips, you can do this for push-ups, you can do this for pull-ups, and they do flipping work. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you guys on the next video.